Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, I want to talk about the Phoenix bass boats that I've been ordering the last few years and some of the options that I've added onto them that I think are absolutely necessary. I just, got the call to place my order for my 2025 rig a few weeks ago. Placed that order, and I omitted a few options that I have on this boat that I'm selling right now. This is my 2023 921 Elite. Of course, we got the Mercury, power plant on the back. But there's a bunch of features in this one that I actually didn't get on the next one, just because I'm trying to reduce the cost of this next boat, and they just weren't things that were absolute necessities. They were more luxuries than anything. But there are some options that I think if you're ordering a Phoenix boat, you should look at them. And I'm not talking about like electronics or trolling motors or power poles and things like that. Those are, third-party, add-ons that I'm not necessarily talking about. I'm talking about like the options that just Phoenix offers for their boats. So let's go ahead and dive into them. I'm going to have to, I might remember some of them as we go. But the first option that I've really found to be super, super helpful on these Phoenix boats that I thought was a really small thing to begin with, but turned out to be something that is something I feel very adamantly about, that I don't ever want a boat without it. And that is these slam lids, okay? So instead of having these latches where you lift them up and you rotate them and then lift up, these are, spring-loaded. You just lift it up, pull it up, and it snaps back into place, and you just stomp them down. Okay, that's, to me, it's such a small thing, but think back to how many times you're in a rush, or your co-angler is in a rush, and you go to open a lid and you leave that little latch open and, cocked to the side a little bit, and you stub your toe on it. I've had it happen so many times before. It is a little bit of a hazard, and it's just an extra step that you kind of, when you have them, you just kind of live with it. But when you end up getting something like these slam latches, it really makes a huge difference. They work really, really well, and just overall, they just make everything a little bit easier. So I think that even though it's a small add-on, they're super helpful. The next thing that I've added on the recent boats that I've ordered is the dual straps. So Phoenix is the only company that I know of that will add on two of these rod buckle straps to each side. Now, the reason I did this is kind of twofold. Is I just like the idea of having redundancy where possible, and so being able to have two different straps ensures that if one goes bad, which I've never had these straps go bad before, you at least have another one. Another reason why I liked having the dual straps as an option is because in real rough water, I just need, I just want that extra insurance strapping those rods down, and so that helps. And also, I've found that you can actually stack your rods, so you got your A group of rods where those are the main players in your strategy throughout the day, and then you've got some B rods, and you can kind of stack them on top of each other while not getting them all jumbled up. So that's been pretty awesome. So I do add this dual buckle system that they have as an option. Another option that I think is actually pretty good. I didn't order it on the next boat, but it was one that I really had to think about, and that was the C deck in the bottom. The C deck is really nice for a couple reasons. Again, I didn't order in the next one, but I'm probably going to regret this one. The C deck is really nice because it drains super fast. It doesn't retain water like carpet does. It doesn't absorb that water. So the water, once it reaches down here, if you're like in real rough water and you're taking on greenies, this will drain super fast. And that net holder is the drain. It just sucks all that water out. So really, really good in rough water because it won't retain that weight and won't slow down the draining of the water. So the C deck's really nice. It does tend to be a little bit harder to clean sometimes, but I take a pressure washer to it. The biggest thing that you need to pay attention to is not burning, the C deck. You can't get too close with the pressure washer, and you can't stay on one spot for too long. This is not cleaned recently, so it does look really dirty, but it does clean up nicely once if you pressure wash it correctly. Another thing, since we're in this section of the boat, that is definitely something I always add on to my boats, because there are tournaments where I have to make long runs. I mean, last year I had to make a 65-mile run each direction on a Lake of the Ozarks, and an option that Phoenix can do is what they call the Pro gas tank, which I think is a 60-gallon gas tank. So it increases the capacity of your gas tank, and so additional gas capacity is to me absolute must, and so I have that installed every year. The biggest caveat, though, is that no longer is able to be used as net storage. It still is used as a drain, obviously, but net storage it is not, because that Pro gas tank, that larger gas tank, takes up a lot of space in there. So that's another add-on that I always add to my boats nowadays, since I've got it. You never know when you need to make those big long runs. Up here, I always add the stacked shroud on the front here. But then, of course, we just end up taking it off to put on the Bass Boat Technologies. So that's not one that I'm going to say is something you have to do. Here at the console, I actually added the heated seats onto this one, which are really nice. If you got the extra cheddar for some heated seats for both the passenger and the driver, it is really nice. But that is one of the options that I passed on for this next boat, just because I'm trying to reduce cost. It's not the most necessary. My hands are what freezes up normally. It's not my butt, that normally freezes. So this was a luxury, but not necessarily a necessity. So I didn't order that one this year. Another option that I always add on is the SmartCraft gauge. Super important for three reasons, actually. So when I'm breaking in a new Mercury engine, which I've got a great video on breaking in these engines, the SmartCraft gauge gives you exact RPM, and so it's easy for you to really monitor the RPM range during that first 2 hours of break-in. So that's really important. Also, it shows you the hours on the engine, which I really like. So we've got 201 hours on this one. And then finally, the gas consumption, the fuel consumption on here is super important for making those long runs. When you think that you may be getting close to running out of fuel, you can see exactly, if you reset it in the morning, you can see exactly how much fuel you've used, so you know how much longer you can go and whether or not you need to gas up. So that has been something that's really, really important, for me. So another thing that is a must-have option, I can't believe that it took so long for the boat industry, the bass boat industry, to start making these boats with this option, but that is the trick step. I mean, I don't think that this is actually called the trick step because that was a brand name, but having this step with this handle here on the front of your boat. I'm 38. I'm not that old, but I'm telling you, anything can happen, and being able to have a step to get you up to the bow of your boat a lot easier and safer is a big deal. So that's one that I won't buy a boat without, is that trick step. Okay, to me that's a must. The final option that I always add on to my Phoenixes nowadays is this puppy right here. This little sliding organizer. So I have had, I really love this big center storage here. And when I was ordering, when I first went back to Phoenix, I was ordering my first 921 Elite. And Jeff at Phoenix, he was just like, man, you really want to add that center sliding storage. It works really well. And I was iffy about it because I was concerned that it would, slide off the rails in real rough water. It wouldn't hold everything correctly. Maybe it wasn't durable. But this thing's been amazing. I mean, I've never had it come off the rails unwanted. You can actually take it off very easily, but it really allows you to organize some things. Like right now I've just thrown, it's kind of my catch-all, but I'll put some leader material, some tools and things that I just need to get to quickly, some lures, things like that. It's been really nice, and you can push it out of the way to get to anything underneath. So that's one that I've added to every single boat and definitely do not regret it. So anyways, I think that does it. I think that's all the different options that I've added on to each of my Phoenix boats. I think that some of them are really small little optional features, but they end up allowing you to be a little bit more efficient, maybe a little bit more, comfortable in the boat. And I think that those are all really good things overall. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think about these options. Are there any options that you add to your boats every single time you order them from the factory? I want to know what you can't live without on your bass boat. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm going to see you out on the water. Make sure you trust the process.